Welcome to our OSHA Focal Point series. I'm Dr. John Mulroy, Director of the Pennsylvania OSHA Consultation Program, housed in the world-renowned Safety Sciences Department here at Indiana University of Pennsylvania. These videos were created with the essential, need-to-know OSHA compliance information to supplement your safety and health training. Addressing OSHA's most frequently cited standards, like lockout-tagout, fall protection, hazard communication, and machine guarding, these videos can help your organization anticipate, identify, evaluate, and control workplace safety and health hazards. We hope these critical OSHA focal points assist you in preventing future injuries and illnesses. If you still have questions or you need no-cost OSHA compliance assistance, we're here to help. All you need to do is reach out to us at IUP using the link below and request this no-cost OSHA compliance assistance service. It's that easy. Thank you for choosing the Focal Points video series. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to be the first to know when new safety and health content is added to this channel. Have a safe day, everyone. Today's topic is fall protection, and the purpose of today's topic is to provide you with the essential need-to-know information about the hazards associated with falls. So during this short presentation, we will briefly discuss the following topics, which include: what is fall prevention, what is fall protection, and what is fall restraint? What are the ABCs of fall protection? And what are the hazards when climbing or working near unprotected edges or elevated work surfaces? So what is fall protection? Fall protection is essentially the steps that we take to eliminate or control injuries caused by an unintentional fall to a lower level while we're accessing or working at an elevated height. And we have to remember that falls are the leading cause of fatalities in the construction industry. So what is the anatomy of a fall? As a worker begins to fall, within the first third of a second, they become aware of this situation. Within the next third of a second, that worker begins to react. And in that distance, of 2/3 of a second, they have already fallen 7 feet. So what fall protection methods are available to us as workers? We may have fall prevention, which is a system that prevents a person from falling to a lower level. A classic example of this is a standard guardrail. We may have fall restraint instead, and this is a system that allows the worker to approach a fall hazard, but will not allow the worker to fall to that lower level. Lastly is fall arrest. And this is an active system that is put in place to protect a worker from crashing to that lower level after a fall, such as using a harness, a lanyard, or a safety net. Who are the key people on the job site when it comes to fall protection? The first is a competent person, and this person is capable of identifying existing or predictable hazards in the surroundings and has the authority to correct those hazards. The other is a qualified person, and a qualified person is one with a recognized degree or a professional certificate and knowledge and experience in the subject field capable in designing, analyzing, and evaluating the hazards, and in this case, the hazards associated with falls. This is the person who will be designing your anchor points. So when is fall protection required? Fall prevention is required for any fall into dangerous equipment below, and a 0 fall distance is permitted. Fall protection is required for work on any forms or any steel or any elevated surface greater than 6 feet in height. If we're working on scaffolds, fall protection is required when we have unprotected edges that are 10 feet in height. When we're on walking and working surfaces that are greater than 4 feet in height in general industry, we need to ensure that we have the proper fall prevention systems in place, such as a standard guardrail. When we're on walking and working surfaces in construction, we need to ensure that we have a fall arrest system in place for any fall potentials that are greater than 6 feet. When we're climbing vertical ladders without cages that exceed 24 feet in length, we need to ensure that we have fall protection available to us. We do not need fall protection when we're working from portable extension ladders. So what are the hazards associated with walking and working surfaces? Anytime our work takes us near open-sided floors, any holes in the walking working surfaces, or any leading edges that we may be constructing. How do we protect those open-sided floors? Essentially through guardrails or restraint devices. Here's an example of a leading edge that is not properly protected, and an example of an opening that is protected through a standard guardrail. Here's another example of a floor opening for access with ladders. We can better protect that situation by installing a standard guardrail around those access areas. Holes present another fall hazard, either a trip and fall or a fall to a lower level. So we want to ensure that any holes are properly covered and secured or protected with a guardrail. Another hazard that's common in many workplaces are skylights. When we're working on roofs and around skylights, we need to ensure that these skylights are properly protected through standard guardrails. So what are the ABCs of a personal fall arrest system? And we have to remember, personal fall arrest system is used to protect an employee from hitting a lower level if they've fallen. So ABC includes our anchorage point, our body harness, and our connectors, which include our lanyards, our deceleration devices, such as retractable lanyards, and rope grabs. Within the ABC, our anchorage, body, and connectors, we have harnesses, lanyards, beam wraps, or other components that may be used as part of the anchorage system. Our fall arrest anchor points need to support 5,000 pounds shock load per employee attached, or be designed by a qualified person to have at least a 2-time safety factor built in. Fall restraint anchor points must support 3,000 pounds or twice the maximum expected force needed to restrain the worker from an exposure to the fall. In the construction industry, roof and deck anchors can include permanent anchors, residential wood roof anchor points, or metal roof anchor points. Horizontal lifelines provide maneuverability, but must be designed and installed and used under the guidance of a qualified person. On a body harness, we need to ensure as workers that we inspect our body harnesses before we use them and ensure that a competent person inspects them at least annually. We can never modify any body harness that we use. We can't write on them or paint on them, and they need to be taken out of service immediately if we find it to be defective or it was actually exposed to a fall. So how do we ensure that the harness properly fits? We want to ensure that our chest strap is tightened mid-chest, that the entire harness assembly is snug, that our leg straps are connected but not too tight as to bind. We want to ensure that the D-ring is between our shoulder blades and that the straps underneath us support the load should we have a fall. And it's important to remember that any body harness needs to be sized for the worker. What are the hazards of wearing a harness during a fall? We need to be concerned about pressure points and suspension trauma. A properly fitted harness ensures that the risk of suspension trauma is minimized. Lanyards. This is what connects our body harness to the anchor points. We may use standard lanyards, and we could use retractable lifelines or retractable lanyards. These are deceleration devices that limit the fall distance. One hazard we need to be concerned about in the workplace are swings. If a worker is tied off overhead with a retractable lifeline or a standard 6-foot lanyard and suffers a fall, that worker may swing into a hazard below. So what is a positioning device, and how is that different? Positioning devices provide hands-free work, but we may need to provide additional fall protection means if we are exposed to a leading edge or another fall hazard. The benefit of a restraint device is it provides access but prevents the fall. A qualified person should design the anchorage to 3,000 pounds or twice the maximum expected force needed to restrain the worker from exposure to the fall. Restraint devices may be more suitable for loading areas or other leading edge work and should always be installed and used under the supervision of a competent person. A fall restraint system assumes that the employee cannot reach the edge. Essentially, it's like a dog leash. If the employee can fall over that edge, then a personal fall arrest system must be used. Here's an example of restraint cables being used during deck anchoring. After the fall, we need to plan for a rescue. Whenever working with a fall protection system, a rescue plan must be in effect. A written hazard analysis must be done to ensure that employees are trained on that rescue plan. Your rescue plan needs to ensure that it can effectively rescue any fallen worker as soon as possible. Your rescue plan needs to limit the amount of time that a worker spends suspended in that harness to no more than 15 minutes. Your rescue plan needs to consider for a worker that may be unconscious, and your rescue plan must ensure that all necessary rescue equipment is in the vicinity of the work being performed. An essential element is to call 911 or to activate your emergency action plan anytime someone has been in a fall arrest situation. To get more help with fall prevention, fall protection, go to OSHA.gov. Thank you.